can an aspiring karma yogi work towards connectedness/oneness with the Jagat while cultivating equanimity and detachment to specific outcomes and goals? Is this not, it's not that this is contradictory, but it seems unclear how to avoid subtle conflation of the two. It's not difficult because as a karma yogi, one is not working towards having oneness with the Jagat. One is working towards oneness with Bhagavan, Vishwara. Jagat is looked upon as an expression of Ishvara. That is what it is. So the activities are looked upon again as an expression of Ishvara because I have dedicated the activities to Ishvara, and the prasada received is also from Ishvara. So for the Karma Yogi, the Jagat, as we will see in the 13th chapter, is a kshetra. Kshetra means a karma kshetra, a place to exhaust the karmas. Jagat is simply a place where the karmas are expressed. If the karmas are not expressed, how will one learn, how will one exhaust whatever karmas are there? This is on the empirical level. From the standpoint of Atma, what karma? That is what we have to say. So, it's not that there is oneness with the Jagat. Oneness with the Jagat is a side benefit of seeing Jagat as Ishvara. So, we are not striving to have oneness with the Jagat. What is Jagat? All discrete, everything separate. And so, oneness is with Ishvara, that is not, that is Ishvararpana Buddhi, the dedication of all actions to Ishvara and the receipt of the phala. So that the attitude with which the action is performed is purified. So that whatever is going on in the Jagat is immaterial, as we are learning in this chapter. Whether somebody is upset or somebody is happy with me, it is immaterial because I know I have done everything that I can. But most of the time what happens? We don't know we have done everything that we could have. And why do we not know that we have done everything that we could have? Because there is already some pain, there is already some guilt, there is already some questioning. This becomes the background. So that background has to be healed up. And once that background is healed up, we just say, okay, this is what I have done here in this situation, is the best that I could do, and then I have left everything to Ishvara. We leave the outcome to Ishvara, and then the outcome, when it comes, we learn to take it as prasada. Prasada doesn't always mean what? Payasam, jalebis, balu shahi, what else do we get here? Laddus, yes. Kheer, malpuas, yeah. And then chocolates, gulab jamuns. I think we got the idea. So, prasada also means difficult things. Difficult things also has to be taken. When you get all these wonderful things, papadam, vadai and this and all this, then it is very easy to take it as prasada. But sometimes it comes as difficult things, karela or something like that. And then also it has to be taken with equanimity. I grow to be a person to take it with equanimity without blaming the Jagat, without blaming myself. That is the idea of growth. So you're right, it's not really a contradiction. And so, so the connectedness with Ishvara, that's what it is. The Jagat I learn to look at as an expression of Ishvara, and while cultivating equanimity to outcomes. Yes. So equanimity to outcomes, because the outcome is also Ishvara. So I receive Ishvara no matter how he, she comes out. That's what is outcome. So how he or she comes out as the result of action, I receive that. I receive that with a certain prasada buddhi. That's why it is called prasada buddhi. Just like when the prasada comes in the temple, one day you get water, one day you get laddu, and you don't fight with the priest. Hey, where is my laddu? You take it. Even in other religions we have this communion. You don't fight with the priest. How come I want more wine, I want more this? You don't do that. In fact, it's not presented as wine and bread at all. Body of Christ, blood of Christ, like that. So that it is sanctified. It's seen as something coming from God. And so therefore, that is the idea. The idea of prasada in the temple, how we receive it, is a upalakshana to receive this, to have that same receptivity no matter what comes in life, because everything comes because of Bhagavan, no other reason. Then, 3 questions. What is the purpose of taking sannyasa? Who are eligible for sannyasa? What are the vidhi vidhana for him? Why only him? Her also. Yeah. So what is the purpose of sannyasa? So, the purpose of sannyasa, it depends on the kind of sannyasa one is taking. There are many kinds of sannyasas. There is apat sannyasa, emergency sannyasa. So if one knows one is got a terminal disease, if somebody knows, they ask for sannyasa. In fact, it says in the Shastra, you don't even have to ask. You will just tell the universe, I am a sannyasi now. And that's as good as taking sannyasa. It's called apat sannyasa, emergency sannyasa. Then there is kutichaka sannyasa. So supposing one is, what is that term? Vikalanga. Vikalanga means not able to take care of themselves. So they can build themselves a small little 1 room, 2 room apartment, flat behind their children or somebody who can give them food and whatnot and live like a sannyasi. That's also there. So kutichaka sannyasa, bahudaka sannyasa, where the sannyasis live near watering places, pilgrimage sites. That is. Then those are all some of the sannyasas. There are a few others, I don't remember right now. These are the main ones I remember. Then the primary ones, however, are 2 in nature. Most of the people are given what is called vividisha sannyasa. Vividisha means veditum ichha. The desire to know, the desire to study. And so while paying bills and while going here and there, or going to work and getting entangled in these kinds of situations, especially if one has grown out of it, one wants to really just be with the knowledge, then this is called vividisha sannyasa. Majority of sannyasa is this kind of sannyasa, vividisha sannyasa. Few sannyasis may be given what is called vidvat sannyasa. They already know, but they already know while they were in the world, but they would like to have the sannyasa to be able to contemplate and assimilate the knowledge through more and more through nididhyasana. Yajnavalkya is a stock example for that. While he already knew, he knew what Brahman was from all his answers to Gargi and so many other people that he debated. And so he knew Brahman, but he wanted to just retire from worldly life. So that's why he tells Maitreyi, Ud aham asyan, I'm pushing off from here. So this is vidvat sannyasa. So this is the purpose of sannyasa. Usually vividisha sannyasa, time to study, vidvat sannyasa, time to contemplate. Then part 2, even in the first question there is another one. who is eligible. The eligibility is decided by the Guru. That's why we have a maxim, sannyasa is not taken, it is given. Yeah. So you don't really ask for it. The Guru knows when you are ready and gives it, but there is a maxim there. If sannyasa is asked, it should not be refused. It can be, the Guru can say, I'll give it to you 10 years from now, but or 20 years from now. But it cannot be refused. It can be deferred. So that is the idea. So the eligibility is determined by, usually determined by the Guru based on how ready they are, or how ready the person in question might be, she or he might be, with regard to living this kind of a life, which is where one must be ready to live alone, and one must be ready to not be entertained constantly by this, that or the other. One must have the wherewithal to face the extremities of situations. Sometimes there may be no money, sometimes things may be lacking, and so how to negotiate those kinds of situations. A certain kind of a growth, maturity, preparedness, that is what is looked at. And then there's a word that looks like oatmeal, but that's not it. Yeah. It is learned. Okay. It is learned that the sannyasi is not allowed to burn fire, because fire is what? Fire is the basis of the whole culture. It's a yajna-based culture. Swamiji, Acharya Swamiji has told how many fires are kept in pots. In Mundakopanishad we heard, in Kathopanishad also. Garhapatya Agni, Avahniya Agni. So many Agnis are there. And so all those Agnis, one for Kamya Karma, one for invoking the Pitrus, the ancestors, one for this, one for that, so many things are there. And so this Agni constitutes, the smouldering fire in the pots constitutes the smouldering desires of the Grihastha. So many desires. Plus there is a cooking Agni also, which the lady of the house prays to Agni Devata and lights every day. So cooking, etc. is there, cooking Agni is there, and Yajna Agni is there, Nitya Karma Agni is there. Whole life is with Agni. So Agni symbolizes duties that needs to be done. Agni symbolizes the reproduction of life through cooking, etc. Agni also symbolizes the fulfillment of desires. So the sannyasi does not do any Agni, does not have anything to do with Agni. Why? Because there are no desires to fulfill, those have been given up, and there is no life to reproduce. Bhagavan or the society will take care, they live on bhiksha. So society will light the Agni and cook and give, and then there is no Nitya Karma, daily duties are not there needing to be done. And then finally, when the sannyasi drops the body, generally the person is buried. Why? Because there was no Agni. The Agni that is used is the Agni that was there in the house, generally. And that Agni, the one's body becomes the final offering to that Agni which one has been feeding all of one's life. It's actually wonderful. So, so then, this is the idea. So if one has become a sannyasi, there is no Agni that's being fed. And so then where will that Agni come from? So therefore, before the sannyasa is given, the final Agni Karya is done. It is a homa called Viraja Homa. Viraja means that from which all Rajas has departed. So in that it is like a, so one does the final offering to the ancestors, one does the final offering to whole lineage, and one does Atma Shraddha. So one basically does, how do you call it in English? Funerary rites. One's own, is that how it is? Funerary rites. Huh? No. Funerary rites. You do your own Atma Shraddha through this homa. Through this homa, whatever is offered is you do your own funeral. So that you don't have to bother anybody. Because once you take sannyasa, who will come to do your funeral? Nobody. Who will come? Because you are saying, I'm nobody is my son, nobody is my daughter, nobody is my child. That is the idea, that is the attitude. You're giving up everything. So nobody is going to come to do the funeral. So one does one's own funeral, Atma Shraddha, and then does the final offering to the Pitras, to the ancestors. So there are and then you take their blessings, you say, okay, I'm not going to offer anymore, please bless me to be on this. And they happily give it because they also wanted to be sannyasis, but they couldn't. So they would like you to be a sannyasi. That is the idea. So therefore, no Agni is there. Okay. Then, many sannyasis are suffering from diabetes. Why sannyasis? India is the diabetes capital of the world. Yeah. We eat white rice and sugar, what else will happen? Yeah. It's not just sannyasis. It's the non-sannyasis also. I'm coming to that. So, yeah. But first sentence, I had to give it full justice. So, yeah, not just sannyasis, everybody suffers. Is it due to over-chintanam? No, it is not due to over-chintanam. Yeah. In fact, sannyasi, over-chintanam means any kind, too much thinking. No, it's not too much thinking. Yeah. Too much thinking won't give diabetes. Yeah. Anxiety might give diabetes, stress might give diabetes, and rice, carbohydrates and sugar diet will give diabetes, not chintanam. So, over chintanam, not really. We have to be careful, really. It is just it is a addiction. So, when we eat carbohydrates, we feel like eating more and more and more. It's like a comfort food. So, for example, when they make that watery sabji, kind of light green watery sabji, what is that one? Like a ash gourd, huh? Lauki, yes. Yeah, ash gourd or whatever it is called. Bottle gourd, it's in the shape of a bottle. So, bottle gourd sabji, everybody says enough, little bit, yes, enough. And like today, what was today? Dry potato sabji. No, some more. Why? It's comforting. It's soft, it is fat, and it is spicy. And it's comforting. Yeah, so it is carbohydrates. Rajma is called protein. I'm talking of carbs. Yeah, that is the carbs is the adhikara here. That is the topic. So, Rajma has some protein. Rajma may also be comfort food. I don't know. But this is definitely comforting. And everybody gets thrilled when this dry potato sabji is made. They make it very nicely also. And so, people like that. And so, this is the so carbohydrates, etc., comfort food. Sweet again, it's a comfort food. And so we have to reduce. She says with a big box of chocolates right next to her. So I know I'm not coming across as authentic. That's okay. Yeah. Apat sannyasa, yeah. No, if they have a terminal diagnosis, then only apat sannyasa is given.
But even in terminal, some people, they would like to have full treatment.
That is immaterial. They may be undergoing treatment, but still it may be terminal. The doctors say that there is not much chance of survival, but but you can undergo, let's say, chemo or something, radiation, chemo, whatever they are undergoing, but they have got a more or less, terminal diagnosis. This is just an example.
So they are not just on the palliative treatment.
Yeah, they may be on palliative care, they may not be in a hospice situation. We don't know. That is not the point. So the point is this. The point is, it is an emergency thing, and sannyasa is seen as a rebirth, and so one does not need to take rebirth. That is the idea. It's seen as a new birth. Sometimes what happens is that they get cured. Yeah. Pujya Swamiji tells the story. One newly married young man got some terrible disease. I think stage 4 of Hodgkin's lymphoma or something like that. Very difficult, very hard to survive. And then he was given Apat Sannyasa. Not by Pujya Swamiji, but another co-Swami, some friend of Pujya Swamiji, some other Swami. And then he got okay. And then he was a sannyasi. And wherever he went, his young wife also followed him. What will I do? What will I do? And then finally they relieved him of the sannyasa so that he could go live after they talked to him. Because he was not really ready. He thought he was dying, he wanted sannyasa, but actually the sannyasa ended up curing him. That is also there. Sometimes it acts like a miracle. Yeah, so that is that. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 18. Samaha shatrau cha mitre cha तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्ण सुखदुःखेषु समः संगविवर्जितः. So समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च. Shatru means enemy, mitra means friend. The jnani will not have enemies, this much we can say. But there may be many people who behave in an inimical way to the jnani. There will be, definitely. Because they misunderstand or because they are upset for whatever reason, who knows. There will be many people who behave badly towards the jnani, and there will be many people who behave well also. The jnani is the same towards all of them. To the inimical one and to the one who is friendly, the same. One doesn't get enamored. The idea is one doesn't get enamored if somebody is friendly, because that can change. Somebody is friendly today and unfriendly tomorrow. It happens. Something changes. So if I get enamored and I get attached to that friend or to getting used to having her or him along with me always, then if supposing that person decides to move, go away somewhere, or has some kind of a falling out or a misunderstanding and goes away, then again one is left miserable. And so therefore, and because of the vidya makes one a friend to all, a general friend to all, and an enemy to none. And so for that reason, samaha shatrau means with reference, vishaya saptami, with reference to shatru and mitra, the one who is the same. Tatha mana apamanayoho. Mana means what? Honor. Apamana, opposite of that. Dishonor. This has to do with the physical honor and dishonor. Sometimes I had seen somewhere. So they were coming around garlanding all the sannyasis in one assembly. And so thinking he was next, one sannyasi stuck his head out. But then they went and garlanded the one next to him. I think it was a little chaotic. They didn't mean to do it on purpose. So imagine how that person feels. Went out of the way and stuck the neck. And then what happened? The garland fell on the other person's, the one who was next to that person. like that. Or sometimes what happens is that, so apamana means they misunderstand the sannyasi. So bouquets, and then what's the other one? Brickbats. Bricks come. And why did you do this? How could you do this? All these misunderstandings come. And so like this. So mana pamanayoho. So because see, one cannot be, one has a kind of a spiritual romanticism where sannyasis are concerned. Because one sees the public face and sees that, oh, wherever they go, they are given the nicest seats, they are asked to sit in the best places, and then they are given, nice things to eat, nice things to drink, and then they are all, everybody is honoring them. That's only one side. The other side is much more invisible, and that people don't see, because while the honor happens in public, the dishonor may or may not happen in public. So the other side people don't see. But it is true that for every honor there may be a dishonor lurking. The same person who honors today may dishonor tomorrow. So be prepared for everything, and as a sadhana also one takes it up like that. One doesn't take the honor to heart. If one doesn't take the honor to heart, the dishonor also is not taken to heart either. That is so. Mana pamanayoho, and then what else? Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu. This we know. Samaha. Shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samaha means in the world there will be always dyads. There will be hot, heat, and then there will be cold. And then there will be sukha, certain things that are pleasant, certain things that are unpleasant. Unpleasant things, pleasant things. Both one learns to ride happily, more or less happily. One learns to ride in the same way. The waves of, coast through the waves of sorrow and happiness. The whole thing is dvandva. Honor, dishonor, happiness, sorrow, hot, cold. So many things are there, opposite. So all the pairs of opposites, out of which Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha are frequently cited. Heat and cold, happiness and sorrow are frequently cited, but they include all other gamuts of dyads, groups of two. Everything is in groups of two, opposites. And like you have gain, and then after gain, what do you have?
Loss.
Pain. Yeah, gain and pain. And then like this, gain and loss and this and that. So many groups of dyads are there. One learns to coast through all that. Then Sangha Vivarjitaha. That Sangha means that kind of an emotional tie to situations, events, beliefs, notions, people, places is not there. Is not there. Because every union is until separation. So that is what it is. So this, if we have understood, then we can enjoy anything that comes fully without lamenting its departure. That is the idea. So in the 18th verse, it's all about equanimity. Everywhere it's about equanimity. And then further, tulya ninda stutihi mauni santushto yena kenachit. So here we had mana apamanayoho samaha in 18. Here we have tulya ninda stutihi. Tulya ninda stutihi. Ninda means criticism. Stuti means praise. This is at the level of vak, that is at the level of actions, kaya. Mana apamana is how is honor and dishonor expressed? It is expressed through actions primarily. Because everything is coming together, we have to decipher and distinguish. Honor and dishonor, how does one know? I have been dishonored iti. How does one know? Because they didn't give me what they gave somebody else. So this is an action, either an omission or a commission. So this is how one knows, oh, I am being honored, oh, I am being dishonored through actions. So that is at the level of kahikam karma. To ninda and stuti purely at the level of vachikam karma. So one will criticize and one will praise. In fact, it is always like that. Few people will praise and a few people will criticize, because no matter what one does, it is impossible to keep everybody happy. It's impossible. There will always be some people who find faults, and then they may talk to other people who will also say, who may not be finding faults, but then who will say that, oh, this is how it is, and who may get convinced by that, and so the opposition may grow, and we just ride it along as prarabdha. See, we may just be coming to class to study Vedanta. That may be the person's intention. I want to go to class to study Vedanta. But then there may be people who are commenting on so many things. And one develops a kind of a demeanor where one does not allow oneself to get affected by people's comments. That goes earlier with that, what was that? Yasman na udvijate lokaha, lokan na udvijate chayaha. So, one who doesn't get disturbed by the world. Okay, I never get disturbed by the world, but I cause the world a lot of disturbance. No, that also one doesn't do. And that connects to here. Because when there is ninda, when there is criticism, then what? I get disturbed. When there is stuti, I am calm. So there is a kind of a setup for me to get disturbed. I avoid that by understanding that everybody has an opinion. It's a free country. They are entitled to have their opinion, and their opinion, first I do a little scanning, inner scanning. Is there some truth to what they are saying? If there is a truth and I need to correct myself, I quietly correct myself. Because there may be a sense of, give the benefit of doubt. But if it is just purely malicious or just irresponsible, sometimes it's not malicious. People say things that are impulsive or irresponsible. You just let it go. Give them the freedom to think that. It's okay. What else can one do? You can't just go and try to change their thinking. So that is the idea. Tulyas ninda stutihi. And what helps here is being a mauni. Mauni means not never talking. Talking little. Talking as much as is needed. Knowing when to not talk. That's the most important. What not to say and how not to say it, when not to say. This is all the tricks of the jnani. Tricks of the sadhaka become natural. First we have to follow this deliberately. First what do? Keep full maunam. And then after keeping full maunam, what happens? Then little bit we can let go and practice instead what is called vak tapas. Talk little bit and just as much as is needed. Watch the thoughts. So somebody is telling something about their life, immediately what happens? One feels like talking about the same incident, similar incident that one also had endured. Let's resist that. And this one was, this is how it is. So this one also said this. I also have the same thing. Resist the temptation. Let us resist the temptation to jump right in and say, oh, I have had the same experience. Because what's going to come out of that? Nothing. And so this is how one becomes a sadhu. As Swamiji was saying today, everybody loves to listen. Everybody loves to be listened to. And so the sadhu has an inner space to be able to listen without really putting their own ideas in all the time. So that is how one becomes a sadhu, by learning to talk less. So, tulya ninda stutihi mauni. Santushtaha yena kenachit. And we have come across this expression in a slightly different way. Yadricha labha santushtaha dvandvatito vimatsaraha. So, yadricha labha means whatever comes. Santushtaha yena kenachit, whatever comes. And nowadays that's getting harder and harder because the choices are getting more and more. Even in India, which used to be a thali culture, you go to a restaurant during lunchtime, what you got was lunch. You just, a thali was plonked in front of you. It had whatever it was, one or two sabjis, a little chapati, little rice and whatever it was. And you just ate that. But nowadays there is too many choices. I'll have the salad but the dressing should be on the side. And then I'll have this but not that. But I'll have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but they should not be mixed. We have what should I say, all the industries, the restaurant industry, the clothing industry, these are the primary ones. And the leisure industry, all of them fan the raga dvesha. Like a fire, like a conflagration. So everything fans the raga dvesha. Oh, you don't like to eat this? Okay. Why don't we give you this? How about this? And Pujya Swamiji would have us in stitches talking about a very hypothetical scenario of a grandma and grandpa going to America for the first time to see the children and the grandchildren. And so they are in the plane, and then so the flight attendant comes. Would you like coffee? And so the grandpa would say, yes, coffee. Decaf or calf? So grandpa doesn't know what decaf or calf is. No, coffee. Would you like milk with it? Yes, coffee, milk. Because grandpa thinks it's only, yeah. Would you like milk or would you like cream? And grandma would pipe in at this time. The only cream she knows is Pond's face cream. So she said, are they putting cream in the coffee, that kind of cream? And then so, do you want sugar? Yes, coffee, sugar, milk, yes. Grandpa is getting annoyed now. How long is it going to take to order 1 cup of coffee on this plane? And then there are also some choices. Do you want sugar or do you want brown sugar? Or do you want alternative sweetener? Or do you want honey? So many things. And so the choices actually are oppressive for self-growth. Really. The choices in the world currently, in this world, are oppressive for emotional maturity and self-growth. Because we have choices, we say yes, I'd like this, I'd like that. And our life also is structured around those choices. So long as the choices are available, we can say we rejoice, we are happy. When the choices dry out or are not available, we become miserable. We are in the hands of those choices. So that is what is being talked about here. Santushto, the opposite of that. Santushto yena kenachit. Something comes, wonderful. Something does not come, wonderful. See, this was what the beauty of the India before all this globalization and all. It was just whatever. Like this is another story from Pujya Swamiji. When he was traveling on train long back in the 70s, 1970s, he was going from one place to another to give some pravachan. It involved an overnight journey. At 5 o'clock in the train, the man selling with a kettle and some cups came, glasses came. And then he was very non-committal and a very clever salesman. He would not say if it was tea or coffee. He would say, ee. And so the person about just waking up from sleep, he is just going like that. Coffee? Coffee. And the neighbor, the man who just accepted whatever that hot thing was, the The neighbor sleeping in the next bunk would say, tea, tea. So from the same kettle, another glass. And the rest of the time he was not very diplomatic, non-committal. He was just selling coffee, coffee, tea, tea. So that way he kept everybody pleased. So this is, those were simpler times. And whoever paid the money, they didn't begrudge. Oh, I'm a coffee drinker, I have got tea. In the morning, something hot feels nice. And then anyhow, they had to get ready to get off the train in an hour or so. It was just a nice thing to wake up to. So that's all it was. So, yen santushto yena kenachit. And why santushto yena kenachit is given here. Sthiramatihi, aniketaha will come back to later. Sthiramatihi bhaktiman same priyaha. So sthiramatihi means the person who is very stable, whose stability does not depend on external factors. Because when we put our own stability and a sense of self in the hands of products, this is what happens. When I put my freedom in the hands of products, the products decide when and to what extent I should be happy. So I don't let the products decide. I decide how much I should be happy, when I should be happy, and if the product comes and product goes, let's say one is used to something and that goes out of the market, one doesn't crumble. One gets used to something else. So like this, one keeps oneself distinct from the anatma in the form of products being, pushed through our throats, through various things. So this is what a sannyasi is like, or a jnani is like. And then aniketaha means homeless, literally. Niketaha na vidyate yasya. So it's not exactly homeless. Maybe the sannyasi has 2-3 ashrams in different countries. So how can you say aniketaha? Aniketaha means it's just a place to stay. It's just a place to stay. So one can make one's own house the same way. Make it into an ashram. So it's just a place to stay. It's just a place to put the head and go to sleep. It's just a place to relax. That's all it is. And when one starts thinking, this is my house, possessiveness comes in, and then it won't be too long before one says it is me house. If there is a crack in the wall, I feel crack. I feel cracked, as though the crack is in me. That's how one feels. So this way, aniketaha and sthiramatihi, and then bhaktiman same priyaha. And then concluding it says, yetu dharmyamritam idam dharmyam and amritam. We'll see what that. Yathoktam, just as it was said, those who follow this, which is dharmyam, unopposed to dharma, meaning in keeping with dharma, and amritam, leading to moksha. Amritam means leading to moksha. Yathoktam, just as it was said, uktim anatikramya, yathoktam, not crossing what was said, paryupasate, practices, how endowed with shraddha, and then making Bhagavan as the ultimate goal of everything. Such a bhakta is very dear to me. So the one who is, so all these things are unopposed to dharma. It is completely within the structure of dharma, and then it is what? Leading to moksha, indirectly. Because the lifestyle is very important. It's not that the lifestyle is divorced from what we are studying. What we are studying has to be practiced in the form of the lifestyle. So we don't practice the knowledge. There is nothing to practice. It's not like a recipe. You buy the ingredients and then you have to go home and cook it. In order to satisfy the hunger, the recipe will not directly satisfy the hunger, correct? You have to look at the recipe and then make the item. You have to cook the item or eat the recipe book. That's all. You have to. That's all you have to do. So, if you are really hungry, so you have to. There are 2 steps, but in Vedanta there are not 2 steps. There is only 1 step. You study and then that itself is moksha. But here the lifestyle leads indirectly to moksha, because what happens is that what is studied goes in faster, because the resistance is less. Why? Because we have led a life that is designed to reduce ragadveshas. So when the ragadveshas are not there, the knowledge enters, sits and demands a cup of ee. So that is what the knowledge does. It stays. It sits and it stays. Om Tat Sat.
Om Tat Sat.
Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Bhakti Yogo Nama. Dvadashodhyayah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate